Welcome to my tutorial, my painting tutorial. Today we're going to be painting this antique bottle. Beautiful highlights and lowlights. Very nice to paint as a practice. Some colours there, some examples of the sort of colours you'll be mixing on your palette. You've got to be very careful that you get your light and your dark values correct, meaning your darks are the right dark to match the photograph and your highlights are the right lightness to match the photograph in order to achieve realism. Now I'm sketching in. So ordinarily, when I'm teaching students, I have a printed picture, the exact same size of the canvas, pinned up next to the canvas, and we measure out with a proportion divider, which is what you see me using here. Now, I know it's hard for people to get out and get these things at the moment, and you might not have a good printer, so you can draw a grid, like there is a line, a horizontal and a vertical line on there to get your proportions correct, or you can use a ruler. It's up to you. We've got to improvise in days like this. But this is how I sketch up. I'm using a wax pencil. I don't use grey lead. Grey lead tends to smudge into the paint once you start applying oil paint. If you use a waxy sort of coloured pencil, which is, your standard Derwents or Staedtlers or whatever, they don't tend to bleed into the paint and change the colours of your paint when you start applying colour onto the canvas. Mixing colours. Well, here we have some examples of the colours. Now, I've used a digital colour meter, which is on my Macintosh computer, and that's in utilities. If you don't have a Mac, there are downloadable colour meters. It just means when you put a photograph up on your screen and hover over it with the mouse, it gives you an exact colour, and you can get a better idea of what you're doing, or what colours you've got to mix, rather. Now, we need French ultramarine, burnt umber, cadmium yellow, pyrrole red or alizarin crimson, and titanium white. The most important two colours are the French ultramarine and the burnt umber. It's really important. They're going to make your blacks, and if you get a different brown or a different blue, it won't make the true blacks that you need. Simple medium, turpentine, linseed oil. You don't need to mix up a lot. You'll only be dipping your brush in lightly to sort of thin the paint a little bit. And your palette must match your canvas. It's very important that your palette matches your canvas. You see, this is a blue, same blue on three different colour backgrounds, and you'll notice that your eye sees them differently. So if you mix a blue on a white palette but paint on a black canvas, to the eye, it will look wrong and you'll get very confused and you won't achieve those true colours, those true realistic colours that you need to achieve your realistic painting. So we're looking at the colours again. I'm about to show you how to mix. We'll speed it up. You won't be sitting through me and mixing my entire palette. So there's the French ultramarine blue and your burnt umber, and we're going to make a pile of black. Now, it's about one part burnt umber to half French ultramarine, but you can adjust them. If it's too blue, put a little bit more brown in. If it's too brown, put a little more blue in. It's about adjustment and seeing where it goes. Don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. But you need to mix yourself up a decent pile of black, because from then we're going to take the black, put a bit of the black paint aside, take some of the black and mix up our next step. So we're going to mix up steps from darkest to lightest. So I'm doing the next step up, which is a brown, dark brown, and I'm just mixing step by step, lighter as we go through all the colours. So we start from darkest colour to lightest colour when we're mixing our palette. That way we'll know we've got every value which is light and dark values. When I speak of values, I mean the lightest light to the darkest dark colours, so that we have every value available to us to just place on the canvas. So we start with black, we mix all the colours up through from black all the way up to the lightest light, which is being the amber highlights in this bottle. And as you can see, I'm using the digital colour meter to have a look at the colours that I need for the painting. Just hovering over different areas of the photograph and getting a good idea of what colours are needed. I think now this is me mixing the background. And cleaning up. Always organise your palette, so once you've mixed all your colours, try and put them around the edge of the palette so you've got room to mix and adjust colours in the centre. Because although you mix up as many colours as you possibly can that you see in the picture, you're always going to have to do slight adjustments. There might be a bit darker brown here or a lighter brown there that you haven't mixed up, so you'll have to do some mixing. So now we're going to start with the darkest. We always start with the darkest part of the image. We're going to be picking up all the black in this photograph. There's some at the bottom. As you can see, it's very dark down the bottom, and at the sides and the shoulders of the bottle too. And there's little bits of black in the centre of the bottle as well. You've just got to be really observant, look very carefully. And we're just going to put the black in first. Always start with your darkest darks. We work our way through all the colours up to our lightest lights. Putting some on the shoulder there. Notice I'm just putting the colour in. I'm not worrying about it. I'm putting it where I see it and I'm leaving it alone. I'm not over blending. I'm not fussing about it. This is sort of the ugly part of a painting. Referencing the bottle again. Keep referencing your photograph and just observing where the darkest dark is and placing it in. Don't worry about it looking pretty right now. This is the ugly part of the painting. Paintings never start out beautiful, and if artists tell you they do, they're lying. So now we're going to place in some of the colours now. You'll have to excuse me if I skip from here to there. I have a tendency to do that because I've been doing this so many years. I can actually mix on the fly. I don't have to pre-mix my colours, and I don't have to go through from darkest dark to lightest light because I've just been doing this for so long. It's this method is just a really good way of training people's eye about drawing and painting and colour values, light and dark colour values. So I'm putting in some dark brown now. Again, just placing it where it is and leaving it alone. I am not worrying about it right now. How it looks doesn't need to look pretty. We just keep putting the colour in where it belongs and then we leave it alone. We don't fuss over it. We don't blend it. We just place it where it belongs. I think put the colour where it belongs and leave it there. So we're looking at the colours again. And always correcting the shape. The shape will shift a little bit when you're placing. You can just keep correcting it. Painting is just a series of problems to be solved. If something isn't working, look at it again and adjust it. So I'm just still going through the colours. As you can see, I'm skipping ahead and putting in some highlights. I'll do that, but I urge you to try and go through from darkest dark to lightest light with your paintings. It'll help you keep on track and train your eye. And again, if something looks too dark, just trust in the process. As long as you've matched your colours correctly, don't adjust if it looks too dark. I'm putting in some background now because this will make the values in the bottle make more sense. So it's always good to put some background around your object, especially if it's starting to look wrong, if the colours look incorrect. Put your background in because it'll make the subject matter that you're painting, it'll make its lightest lights and its darkest darks make more sense. So here we have a full